Welcome to eCommerce Spotlight, a podcast where we discuss all things e-commerce related, from brand building to tips on how to deal with angry Karen. My name is Adam, and today Steve Herz from Moonstone Interactive has joined me to talk about online shoppers and how can we use user behavior data to better understand our customers, and as a result, increase conversion rates. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we move to today's topic, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Moonstone Interactive, and your job there?
Okay. Moonstone Interactive is basically a web design development company, but we specialize on conversion rate optimization. So we want to make sure that we are developing all of our websites and web solutions to achieve the business goals of our clients. That's why we use the tagline, design with purpose. Our purpose is our client's success. Here at Moonstone, I'm fundamentally the chief strategist, so to speak, on how to interpret visitor behavior, what it means, what are some of the ideas to actually implement or experiment with to test to achieve better results.
Great, thank you. And in relation to today's topic, what type of a shopper are you, if I may ask?
I am a terrible shopper. I am one of those people that they would call a needs-based shopper. In other words, I only look for something, whether it's in the physical world or digital world, if I need it. I don't quote-unquote shop. I go to buy. And that is a distinct type of shopper. I just want to find what I need and execute and get the heck off that site.
So there is no chance to trying to upsell or cross-sell some things during your customer stages?
No, I wouldn't go quite that far, but I'm not an impulse shopper. But if I was buying something and I needed additional parts or pieces to go with it, I'm great to upsell to. Or if there are alternatives and I can compare products, I'm perfect. But don't try to sell me something else that I wasn't looking for because I'm gone.
So all this social media posts, advertisements, and all those things, they don't work for you?
No.
Okay,
That's
great.
me. And I'm only one small portion of the type of shoppers out there.
And that's what I hope we can discuss today. So to start with today's topic, some people can think that there are no two online shoppers that are alike from each other, but can we actually segment customers into different categories? Like, how many types of buyers can we identify? How many types of online shoppers can you identify during your work?
Well, that's a really good question because I think it's a little bit of both, in my opinion. There are certain types of shoppers, like I just expressed. I'm called a needs-based shopper. I have a certain quote-unquote profile. But there's other people who have a profile too that are different. For example, there are people that we would call discount shoppers. They're always looking for the best price. They always want to get a deal. And that's all they're looking for. They don't care about anything else. They just want to get the best deal. There's also people that we would call impulse buyers. They're out there and they're looking, and all of a sudden something grabs their attention like a shiny new object. And then they go look at, oh, wow, that's really cool. I have to get that. And they buy it. They didn't have the need for it, but you caught their attention and they buy it. We would call that an impulse shopper. And then there's my favorite, which are the loyal customers. People who go back to the same site over and over again because they trust the brand, etc. There's one that they label as wandering shoppers. Those are just people who are just, they're surfing the internet or whatever. And again, you've got to catch their attention, draw them in, and give them a sense of urgency to do something, because they're just kind of like people who would go to a shopping mall and just walk around and not really have a purpose, but just wandering all over the place. Those are the types that people normally talk about. But I wanted to go back to your first question. No two shoppers are alike. Now, people can fall in those categories, and there's a lot of other categories depending on how you want to evaluate. But the bottom line is everyone is an individual. They may be in one of these categories, but depending on where they are in their journey for buying something or searching for something, depending on what mood they're in today, what site they just came from, they could have different reactions. So people are not machines. They have a lot of factors. So we'll talk a little bit later on, but you're seeing a lot of AI technology being applied to predict based on people's current behavior where they're most likely going to go or be interested in. And that just comes to the personal nature of each individual. And I think you're going to see a lot more to e-commerce going in that direction.
And just a quick back to something that you say, and I was wondering, is it possible for one person to be included in a few types of segments, like we segment those online buyers? Because when you talk about those impulse buyers or those wandering clients, in some part, I was thinking about myself that I may be the wandering buyer, but also sometimes I just see some advertisement on social media or etc., and I just have to buy this right now. Is it possible for one person to be in different segmentation at one time?
Without a doubt. So the thing I always go back to is we think about online digital as being this whole new experience, and it is to some degree. But guess what? A lot of the same traditional perspectives and attitudes of people are still there. People haven't changed. So if someone walks into a physical store today, they might just be wandering around. Salesperson comes up and says, "Can I help you?" "Nah, I'm just walking around." The next day they come in, salesperson walks up and says, "Can I help you?" "Yes, I want XYZ." And they go, no different online. Depending, just like you said, sometimes you're this, sometimes you're that. That's why this real-time AI technology is becoming more popular, so that you can look at their behavior, just like a salesperson would look at someone's behavior in the physical world, and then try to guide them based on the signals.
Okay, and so let's say that I'm about to start my new e-commerce shop or web service, and I was browsing through those segmentations of clients that you mentioned. Should I decide on one type of customers that I want to get their attention, or is it some group that are most popular within those segments? Like, let's say the promotion seekers or discount seekers are the most common group of clients on internet right now. And we should, for sure, give them some attention from our side and try to create the advertisement and whole marketing strategy just for them. Can we identify like the most common, the most popular groups? Is there some kind of data that you can share with us?
Well, that's, I think if I knew the answer to that explicitly, I would be on the island of Bora Bora and in a great big mansion. But in essence, it is a very, very good question in the fact, should I concentrate on one of these types of shoppers? The advice we give our client is, don't worry about the shoppers when you start off. Worry about your brand. What makes you different? If you're a high quality brand, a value added brand, the last thing you want to do is cut all your prices to go after the discount shops. Stick true to your brand and then look at what your people you're attracting in, how they behave. Now, one thing that's pretty common across all these segments is shipping cost is a point of friction. No matter what type of customer we assess, when it comes to going to the shopping cart and checking out, if there's shipping cost, it gives them pause. If it's too high, you could lose that client. And it's just because of, I think, traditional, I walk into a store, I don't have to pay shipping. So if I'm online, sure, I don't want to pay shipping. So it's just kind of a historic expectation. But I would say stick to your brand and then look at what are the common characteristics that in your industry may cause friction. And then try to focus on that relative to your brand promise. So again, focus on the customers that will want your brand the most and target their emotions and how your brand solves their problems. And it'll go a lot further than worrying about the type of shopper.
Okay. And looking on those segments that you mentioned, can you tell that which type brings the most money? Which type of the segment, which type of those customers? Are there segments that are most likely to bring us more benefit or than another?
I believe there is a segment that consistently will bring more revenue than any other type of customer. And it doesn't have anything to do with the type of shopper. What it is your repeat visitors, your repeat customers, without a doubt, are the most valuable people that come to your website. The top 10%, according to industry data, of the loyal customers will spend 2 times in total, the top 10%, twice as much in absolute dollars than the whole bottom 90%.
Okay, that's really revealing for us. Those numbers are pretty high, so without a doubt.
So one of the things that we usually recommend, because the evidence shows it, is that every e-commerce site should be really thinking about how are they going to get that customer to come back. Because the repeat shoppers are absolutely your lowest cost of sale. They buy the most, they spend the most as far as multiple products at a time. They are without a doubt the most valuable segment to focus on.
Okay, you mentioned AI and some data gathering to trying to better understand your customers. What tools can we use for example, for our content personalization on our website, on our e-commerce?
Yeah, there are a lot of tools and more coming all the time. There are really tools that, from my perspective, fall into 2 categories. One is tools that are, in essence, a digital experience platform. Some examples of those would be the Optimizely DXP platform, the Kentico experience platform, the Adobe experience customer experience platform. And those are basically, they have a lot of these content personalization tools, persona identification and management, and a lot of tools in there, along with your entire content management system for your website. So everything's in one dashboard. It all integrates together. It all reports together. It's very highly efficient, highly productive, highly effective. Then there's another set of tools, which are separate tools that you buy in addition to what you're doing to manage your website. And some of those tools, they can be Hushly, A/B Testy, Bloomreach. I mean, there's just so many of them that can be used, and they are good, but they are separate from your core. And the digital experience platform gives you the most complete information and thereby the most productive and effective for the client, for the customer. Thereby, if you satisfy them and give them a better experience, they're more likely to trust your brand, buy, and come back. So it comes down to what level of sophistication do you need, how much money do you have to spend, so forth and so on. But so they fall in those two categories. And there's new tools coming out every day. But I do want to say, since you asked the question, you cannot do the level of personalization, customer experience to achieve those high levels without tools. It'd be like trying to build a house without a hammer.
I understand. And how can we turn one-time buyers into repeat customers? Because I believe that those data, those tools that you mentioned will help us a lot. And like you said, it won't be possible without them. But what segments of our e-commerce, let's say, for example, we should look at when we want to focus on converting those one-time buyers into our loyal customers?
Well, first and foremost, the most important thing is that first experience has to be satisfying to that customer, that one-time buyer. They have to have had a good experience in finding what they want, making the purchase, and getting the fulfillment. If you break down on those, it's very hard to come back. But if you do that, then it comes back to what type of techniques will get you there. So immediately, you've got to have emails going out to the client saying, thank you for your order. Your order is coming. Here you're going to track. All those things, that communication. After the purchase, then, you have a choice of sending them another email and saying, hey, we have a spring sale coming up, or since you are a current customer, we're going to give you 10% off your next order over $100 or whatever it is. So you give them offers and you entice them back in. Another technique that's a little more sophisticated is you ask if they'd want to register as a member. Now you have to be careful because some sites say you have to register before you make the first purchase, but they don't tell you what the value of being a member is. And so now it becomes a constraint. People say, wait a second, I don't want to sign up for a membership. I don't know what it means. I just have to sign up for membership for what? They don't want my money? And they're gone. But if you say, if you sign up as a member, you'll be a VIP. You'll get special deals. We will automatically what's the value? What's in it for them? And you've got to emphasize that. If you emphasize that and they become a member, now you have permission to basically communicate with them often, give them special value, and entice them to come back. You've got to be proactive in enticing them to come back, not just sit there and say, oh, geez, I wonder if anyone's going to come back. You've got to pull them back. And the more you pull them back, the easier it is to pull them back. Again, trust, value, focus on what's in it for them. And those are the immediate things that I think everyone should think about.
But like you said, the boss is pretty much on our side of the court when we want to convert them into the loyal customers, because like you said, if we don't encourage them to come back, if we didn't send them any offers, didn't want them to register, didn't show us that they are value for us, there's pretty much no chance that they will come back all by themselves.
That's right. And if we do that and emphasize the value of our brand, whatever that might be, it might be the lowest price, it might be the highest value, It might be the highest quality. It might be the most innovative, whatever it is. Constantly and emotionally show them how that brand essence helps their life be easier, more satisfied, better, whatever it is.
Because like you said, if they came to us in the first place because of the lowest price, and the next time they will looking for something, they won't come out to us right now, right again. If they are not our loyal customers, they will check those prices online again, and they will make another decision based on those kind of needs that they are having right there, not the first time, and all the loyalty goes to nothing.
Exactly.
Okay, you said that all the data that we gather is very important for our decisions and for our work with our clients. But the best way to understand our customers is tracking their behavior.
Yes.
How can we actually do that? How can we track all those movements and decisions that are made by our clients and potential customers, let's say on our website? Because like you said, in physical store, we have some salesperson that can interact with them, and we can always ask them for their opinion. But how can we do that on an online store, for example?
Sure. And I want to, just reinforce what you said. The way we can understand our customers' needs, impressions, user experience is to monitor behavior. I used to be involved in some market research when I was a lot younger and realized real early that if you ask people what they want or think, they tell you what they think they should tell you, not necessarily how they behave. So if you can get their behavior, it is the best data possible. So we encourage everyone to, let's say, the businesses that don't have a digital experience platform, then use Google Analytics, the new GA4 application, as orders of magnitude more sophisticated than GA3. So learn how to use it and tag everything. Tag all attributes you can about the customer, tag all possible events, because GA4 allows you to slice and dice the data all different ways to unpeel the onion to find the behavior. So first thing, get things set up to tag everything, and then look at behavior and try to pick out behavior for different campaigns. Behavior coming from different places, like what's the behavior of people coming from social media? What's the behavior of people coming from a Google search? What's the behavior of someone coming from a directory? What state or what geography are they in? What demographics are they? Are they man, woman, what age, etc.? Whatever data, slice and dice it, and you'll be able to find groups, what we call visitor groups. Oh, this visitor group seems to behave this way, this visitor group seems to this way. So you can use that as preliminary data about common behavior, okay? And then target that common behavior with personalized offers, personalized content, etc. Now, if you have a digital experience platform, most of them will basically capture the user using various techniques, but just for simplicity, a first-party cookie so that they can identify, they don't know who they are, but they can identify them and identify the characteristics and put them into visitor groups based on your direction. And the same thing. And you can actually then set your content personalization based on the history of that customer. And so you can really learn and then test those things or evaluate them to see where things are working and not working. Okay? So you've got another level of sophistication. Then the third thing that you can do is experimentation. So what you do is you do an A/B test or multivariant test and you try different techniques and see which one gives you better results. And then you move forward with that one, and then you try other techniques, and you keep evolving to play into the behavior. And you follow the behavior that's best for the customer, which then in turn is going to be best for you because they're happy. Happy customers lead to happy businesses.
Of course, that's a key. That's the key to happy business, like you said. I think that the last thing I want to ask you about is how can we differentiate ourselves among our competition? Because let's say that I have some online store on e-commerce, and I was listening to this episode of this podcast, and I do everything that you mentioned, but also my competition also did that. So how can I gather some lead on them? Because let's say this straight. E-commerce is an increasingly competitive marketplace, and it's not getting easier by every day. It's getting harder to be successful e-commerce every day because of the number of competition of all the business that are growing every day. So do you have any tips or something like that to e-commerce owners?
Well, yes. One of the services we provide for our clients is competitive intelligence. The online market, different than a lot of the physical market, just has so much data about every other business out there. You can get a lot of data. So one of the things we start with is we really look at what tools do they have. We're big on having the right tools. So if I go out to my competitor, who I believe is beating me in the marketplace, and I find out they have a digital experience platform, and they have this marketing thing, and they have this marketing thing, and they're doing all these things, and I'm doing nothing, well, guess what? I'm going to lose.
Of course.
They got better tools. They can do more than I can do. So understand whether or not you have the right ingredients given your competition, and then you're going to need to decide, do I want to be better than them or just so different than them that no one will compare me? That's another thing you can do. But you've got to differentiate yourself. So let's say you all have the same tools, and you look at them, look at their messaging, look at the organization of their website, because the organization of their website typically will indicate what their core message is, how they want to lead the customer, how they want to lead them to the cart, right? And so understand that. That's your competition. If you were a sports team, you'd understand every play that other team does, what they do well and what they do not so well. And what would you do? You'd create plays that allow you to beat them or outsmart them or whatever. No different in e-commerce. So you understand what that is, and then I'm going to go back to your brand. Why is your brand different? Why should someone pick your product rather than their product? What is it? Do you have faster delivery? Do you have cheaper prices? Do you have higher quality? Do you have more innovation? What do you have? And then get your messaging right. Get your messaging to deliver to that. When you do your search engine optimization, make sure you're targeting the themes that address the pain points of your customers or desires of your customers with your brand. So just be better at making sure those visitors understand why you're better because of your attributes and your promise under your brand. Again, I'll go back to the physical world. How does one brand get noticed more than another brand? How do they get more sales? Because they connect their passion or mission with the customer's emotions. Same thing online.
Exactly like you said. And I have to admit, I'm a huge basketball fan, and
Good.
that what you said about the sports team and how they are doing their analytics. Like for everyone out there, it's an obvious that even the amateur level teams right now are doing the scouting video analytics. They analyze their opponents and etc. But in the e-commerce world, when you run your business, it's not so obvious, and that's like the biggest why for me. If amateur high school team boys can analyze those their competitors on the next tournament, why can we do the same thing when it comes to e-commerces, when it comes to our businesses, to our careers?
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that we emphasize a lot with our clients is to make data-based decisions, not emotional decisions. The reason data never lies. It may not be the easiest to interpret sometimes, but it doesn't lie. The data is there for a concrete reason. And if you follow the data and use that to make your decisions, you will be more successful. It amazes me how many stores we run across in the industry that you ask them things like, what's your conversion rate? What's your average cost per sale? Some of the questions you ask me, what segments are you attracting? They have no clue. And you say something like, do you have Google Analytics set up? Oh yeah, we set that up, but I've never looked at it. I go, how can you run the business without understanding the information about that behavior? I mean, it's impossible. The people who are successful, you ask those questions, they know those answers like this.
Yeah, so if you want to be a successful out there, you have to do your job. You can't just ignore those kind of things. Like you said, that making the data-driven decision won't be easy. It's never easy. But like you said, data never lies, and getting emotional on the business decision, I think is the worst case scenario that we can ever happen. Just to make decision based on, well, I think that something's that and something's this. It's, for me, every time it's the worst kind of opinion that there is out there.
Yeah, you'll get a kick out of this. Sometimes a client will say to me, well, what do you think of this design? Or what do you think of this? My answer is always the same.
It doesn't matter.
It is meaningless. And I'm the last person to ask that question of, because I'm not your customer. You need to ask your customers. Don't ask them like, call them up and ask them. Well, you can, that's always helpful, but look at their behavior. They're telling you what they really think based on their behavior. Their behavior is stronger than their words. Look at the behavior, look at the data, and you'll get the answers. If the data is poor, then it's not working, and you need to change it. Now, the challenge that a lot of businesses have, which I more than understand, is to do the kind of things I'm talking about, is grinding detail, making sure you've got I's dotted, T's crossed, you're checking everything. It's a plethora of data. And you've got to understand how to go through it and interpret. The business owner should be working on the business, not on plowing through data. So they should have someone internally, or they should hire an agency to do it for them so they can focus on the big strategic issues in their brand and hire someone to do the minutia, to go through that detail and give them back the interpretation. Because, I mean, the average business person, there's so much data, it just will make their eyes glass open. And rightfully so. I mean, that's not a criticism, that's a realization that unless they have that skill set, they should hire someone to do it, either internally or externally.
And I think it will be a great conclusion to our talk today. Like what you just said about this kind of perspective that you have to have if you ever run an online business, because you can you can ignore this data. You have to empower it in your advance. Especially against your competition. So Steve, thank you very much for today's episode. To our listeners, if you have any questions regarding today's topic, please let me know at spotlight@icea-group.com, or you can reach directly to Steve. Steve, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Well, first off, I'm happy to take an email. My email address is sherz@msinteractive.com. Or just go to our website, msinteractive.com. You can read more about our services and just submit a contact form. So one way or another, you have access to the company and myself. If we can help you in any way, let us know. We love to be part of our clients' success.
Great. Once again, Steve, thank you. Thank you so much for today, for all your information. I'm sure that it will be much more helpful to our listeners.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Great. And to our listeners, once again, see you or rather hear you next episode. Bye.